first two cops there that day, one of them seen me not too much after Summer vanished, and in this tone they were like, then why did Candace make it like the boys weren't even here? Why was she trying to hide them from me? And I remember telling them that it was probably to hide them from DCS. Candace had probably thought once cops arrived, Summer would be found in 10-15 minutes. It wouldn't be a big deal. DCS wouldn't be super extra pissed off. The boys wouldn't be at risk, which is what has always given me, that pause with Candace. And even that first day, and after I knew that, especially after that officer told me that, I was like, well, that surely Candace is less likely to be guilty of it, right? Because she was apparently sure Summer would be found soon. That's why she tried to lie and say the boys weren't there in this errors to keep them from being in more trouble DCS. She was certain Summer would be found, right? Had to be. That's the only reason I could come up with, that she would hide the boys being there until the first cops that, you know, make it like they weren't anywhere. Oh, yeah, Lockham's razor. You make such a big deal about throwing that phone in the back of the trunk of Dawn's, because you did indeed call 911 first. But I'd about guarantee you called and hung the fuck up and tossed it in the back because you knew you could use it as an excuse to go, we weren't getting the signal. Whoopsies, but you knew cops would eventually locate and whatever and come. But it bought you time. You all sent those boys over that bank quietly. That's why I didn't hear the directive. It wasn't shout at them, go down there and look, or anything else like everything else. Like, what did you do? What did you do? Was shouted at them. You fucking bitches sent them over that fucking bank. You know why? They were supposed to be waiting on Dawn. That's why. Bet me. That's why Don makes his way down there and pulls all the way in. And all the videos he does, he never actually stops at the shed and pulls in there. He always goes further. And he says at first he went to the creek. There are pieces very early that says he pulled to the creek. He knew because Candace was coming down the fucking driveway on that phone with him, louder than shit. And on that phone, she told him the boys were down there and were supposed to be meeting him down there. That way they could say the boys weren't home all day long. They were with him at work. Y'all remember very early on how it said the boys weren't even there at the time. They had tried to tell him that they were with him at work, this and the other. And I think they tried that to a certain degree. But I'd say the same cop that had pulled into Simpson and had eyes on myself when the boys stood up definitely had eyes on the boys as I was talking to them. Ruined all that somewhere along the way would be my guess. But very early on, it was said the boys weren't even there. They were gone. Or could they that? Because guarantee you it was the first story was given out or tried to be. Because they thought cops probably hadn't seen the boys. You don't know why? Because they were told to hunker down and wait on Dawn at that fucking spot. So he could pull in and grab them real quick and then pull in like they had been with him at work instead of left home. That's why Dawn thinks and says that because he knows there's going to be records of a call coming in at 5:30. That's why he has to keep wavering back and forth. Well, I thought the call was at 5:30 and playing stupid. Well, I don't know. Because there was a call to his fucking phone. Those boys were waiting on Dawn. He knew he was supposed to pick him up there, but when Dawn pulls in and he sees at least the other neighbor that's with me, I'm in the creek though. See, and I'm near all these tall growths that are still left where they'd screwed up the creek and dammed it off and shit. But he could see the other neighbors searching with me as we went around together. It's too late. He couldn't get to those boys. I talked to him first, but they've done got their script right. It's why they act weird. It's why the oldest speaks for the group again. It's why the other two won't look at me and are acting weird as shit, but I mistakenly took as that they were going to be in trouble, or like I was going to tell Candace they weren't really looking, because that's the thing, they weren't looking. I thought they were playing or goofing off, squatted down, but it was them trying to stay hidden and waiting on Dawn to pick them up. Candace did indeed call Dawn and probably made that first bullshit call to police and then thought they could buy some more time going, man, I couldn't get signal. And then saying she drove to church because everybody knows down there that's where you can get good phone signal. But see, all those months, her phone picked up just fine, like better than anyone's I've ever seen in there. Like, and she could obviously come off the entire fucking driveway on the phone with Dawn and him be still on the phone and well connected enough to hear me. He pops up flat as fuck and goes, so you're telling me somebody took my baby girl? They done knew she was gone. Every goddamn one of them knew she was gone. Grandis, Candace and Dawn and the boys. They knew she was gone. Way before they ever actually called police. Summer was gone before 5:30 on June 15th. And you motherfuckers waited that long? Questions why? Was it just to make sure the boys weren't taken too, that you weren't in trouble for that? Or do you know what happened to Summer? That timeline means that she had to vanish within an hour and a half of getting home. And if you all didn't notice till 5:30, chances are the first calls weren't, first calls weren't, that means that Scream's more likely, right, to be connected. The red flash going up the goddamn driveway we seen that later on didn't match the color of the Subaru, and the goddamn slamming door. All the, just right there, all in that. That's it, man. That's it. The first phone call and the big deal that Candace made about throwing that phone in the back of Dawn's truck because it wouldn't pick up signal. She attempted to call 911 behind it. That way they could maybe, do the location tracking services, etc. Take them a while to get there. She could feign no signal. She could later on say she was zooming looking for Summer. But see, I know the first thing she does. It's not looking for Summer. She goes everywhere else telling everybody 93 different stories. There's a Summer and going up and down the goddamn road. She never even gets out, man. And then I've often thought, man, I thought, there's a script afoot here or something, and that maybe they used all of us in the neighborhood being out at certain times, known times named, as a way to have like witnesses, right? Like on purpose. But that day, Andy was late. Other neighbors were like they were supposed to be in Sharon. I never could make it quite fit. And I don't think it's about that now, right? It was just as simple as having to wait long enough for Dawn to leave work to get there to pick up those boys, to get their own shit together and their own shit straight. And then because of the other neighbor's presence that Dawn could clearly see, and I guarantee at that point he could probably, it screwed it up. But I could see that. So he never got contacted. And if he did make contact anyway with the boys, as I was paying attention to the creek or anything else, that's also a problem. It would mean that he had contact them in order to be telling them what to say or do or to follow the script. Anyway. That's why they separated everybody. That's why Dawn wasn't supposed to be talking to the oldest, but made a beeline for him after they were finally able to visit last year. Because after Summer vanished, the eldest went back to being a favorite. See? And used, always trained, just like these abusers try to train all of them. Because after Summer vanished, the eldest went back to being a favorite. See? And used, always trained, just like these abusers try to train all of them. Jesus. Did all these loads of laundry, huh? Fed the kids this and that and the other, huh? Planted flowers, negros, peppermint. Really? Really? Yeah, right. Knew that from the beginning because you never argued that with me, did you? When I told you you were full of shit and just trying to make yourselves look better, I told you that to your faces and to knock it the fuck out. Here's the thing about polygraph tests, guys. They're not intricate questions they ask. They ask yes or no. Questions and a yes or no. So B, did you pull in down the shit? Did you actually watch the boys go down? Did you whatever? Well, you can pass those motherfuckers if the intricacies aren't involved. And if you score high enough on psychopathy scales too, and since everybody over there, and if you score high enough on psychopathy scales too, and since everybody over there, and then they have the audacity all this fucking time to be bitching about how long it took cops or roads to be blocked off or traffic to be searched. Are you kidding me? No, of course. No, you're not kidding me, are you guys? Is it you waited that long? Could have just been simply to keep the boys safe, not to get into more trouble. But man, didn't she matter. First, actually searching for Summer, yelling at these fucking search teams that are at the end of the driveway before dark, and their radios are clicking, and they're going tack 9, tack this, whatever, trying to set everything. They got the wrong fucking timelines. I think she's just vanished. We're all like, no, 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 no. Man, she's been gone at least, because we all got in there at these times, and here you all knew the whole time she'd been missing since 4 or 5 fucking 30. Never. There's a shield over the next few days. Nah, but the middle one's behavior tells me that he doesn't really know. He's still excited. So it tells me that there's a chance you all aren't guilty of doing anything to Summer still. But y'all did indeed take time to make sure everybody's shit was straight, to try to pick those boys up before cops could get there. But people who cared that were already searching for Summer after 6:09 fucked it all up. You tried to buy time with that first phone call because we all know signal there. That's why the big deal is made, why it's even mentioned, right? Because you want to make sure that's out there. Oh, I couldn't get signal on this phone, so I tried to use it, but then I dumped it in the back of Donnie's truck, and then I got Mom's, right? Well, you could later on when Dawn later on, I guess, gets hold of law enforcement first, when he's getting close enough to the house, he thinks he'll beat law enforcement there. What he didn't bank on was not beating the rest of us. So somewhere between, 3:20 max, that Grandis and Candace and Summer, I get home on Benio, 5:30, Summer vanished. I hear what I assume to be what my brain tells me is a Suburban slamming up the fucking driveway at 5:30. But I didn't hear it go down. I only heard it go up. But then later on, I see Candace, and she's in Grandis's vehicle. And when Dawn finally comes in, he's in the Subaru, which confuses the shit out of me because earlier I and my eldest had went out, and we seen the flash rig up the driveway, and he just tells, I was like, who was that? And he was like, it's just the neighbors, Mom. But I knew the traction wasn't right. I knew the shit wasn't right on its why I even bothered to ask. Otherwise, I wouldn't ask. And then it's not got clear coat, or it's dusty or something wrong with it. And then later on, when Dawn shows up, right? Andy shows up, Monster shows up, Dawn shows up, cops, hold on. Everything's colliding at once. And there's Dawn showing up in the Subaru, and it is so pristine, so shiny, so candy apple red, just clean as a fucking whistle. I'm like, holy shit. And well, the red up the apple red, just clean as a fucking whistle. I'm like, holy shit. And well, the red up I'm so confused and lost. I know the time between the slam of that fucking door and the scream or whatever the kids and I heard that day. The first reaction is, no, 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 it's so fucking wrong. I try to dismiss it any way I can. I'm like, man, it's one of the tree cutters who cut out early that day. But I was like, man, they've kicked one of Candace and them's dogs because they got too close this year, right? But I knew better. I knew it wasn't a dog. I knew it wasn't any of that. But my brain was trying anyway, all it could to explain it away. Anyway. And I knew it had been such a lengthy amount of time. There was no way that a straggler from the woodcutters or brush cutters was behind it there. Because I tried to fit those things together. But the slam, my brain, it just, my brain, it just, but where do those pieces all fit still? Who's responsible? And what has happened? So yeah, you passed a lie detector test. Going, yeah, we sent the boys down there with the directive. Because you did, but not for, y'all sent them down there because Don was supposed to pick them up. But people actually out searching for us. Why you're so certain in this news piece and say, and I've wondered, I'm like, how in the fuck would you have known Summer was gone before? I mean, there's no time for the boys. I know they didn't go back uphill to tell you, hey, it's clear and Summer this or whatever that. So how in the fuck would you be like, well, we just hope nobody took them too? That would imply you already knew. But how in the fuck would you? And I kept thinking of it in a way that I was like, you know, we're not there searching. I and the other people searching for Summer did not hear Grandis yell once, but I know that supposedly she was hurt at some point. However, it damn sure was not, as I know, not, as I and others were around and searching for Summer after 6:09. So that tells me that most likely the bullshit call at 5:30 from the phone Candace tossed into the back of that vehicle might have a yell or two from Grandis on it. Probably inside the house or the camper, honestly. Which means that if at 5:30 you were calling law enforcement and tossing a phone into the back of the vehicle, pretending going, hey, I can't hear you, click, tossing it in the back of Dawn's vehicle, it means you knew well before 5:30 she was gone. Because that's why you're so certain she's dead in the road that night. Not even a goddamn tear. Just a meh. But why? Why such a bland response before that? How do you wait them hours and have fucking audacity to start blaming Dudley and Fred and everybody else? Yeah, there's a reason Grandma over here is certain Summer was already gone, even though clearly nobody had time after sending the boys over the bank to know that Summer was gone and somebody took her, right? There's a reason Dawn pops up on the phone after 6:09 going, so somebody took my baby girl. There's a reason for the phone thrown in the back of the vehicle at the top of the hill. There's a reason other things, many other things I know here, etc. throughout all this. There's a reason those boys were hunkered down. There's a reason they weren't acting right, not just for June 15th, but after. There's a reason for the what did you do, what did you do, nothing, mama, I swear. There's a reason for all the bullshit, the chaos, the lies, the hoaxes that Candace and Dawn and these YouTubers have played, tormented, twisted, while they've acted stupid about shit, including the whole dogs was camping on our land. I was trying to find his campsites, and I knew damn good and well that wasn't true. All these other things I found along the way. You got Candace over playing stupid, pretending she was helping us move, didn't know shit about a red truck, trying to insinuate to other YouTubers and to Dawn that there had been a ladder rack on it, though. Well, how in the hell, right? That Summer's vanished in your time. Thing is, who, which, what, where? Did Dawn come back and get her, thinking she'd be taken? Candace is oblivious. Just knows she vanished on her watch. Dawn's likely to fucking kill her for it. And she's trying to come up with any other fucking person under the sun, they can make look guilty or like they've done it. Dawn, Jerry's friend, like they are. So they look guilty as shit, no matter if they did or didn't. So you point fingers, sling shit, sling jello. Right? Anybody else except some way, even it's scripted. In a way. Because they already knew she was gone at 5:30. So whatever search happened for Summer to let them know she was gone, that heralded the call to Ellie and Dawn, whatever. And it was done a lot quieter. Somebody definitely went out of there because somebody definitely hit that hill going back up at 5:30. And then 6:09 plus as people screaming. And as the children and Candace come towards the top of the bank, he said, as Candace screaming at him, what did you do? What did you do? Nothing. Nothing. I swear to God, those fucking words and sound will haunt me until the day I got in. Much like the thing is, I've heard Candace yell for someone before and her not answer at least one other time. Man, it was loud as shit. So I was none of that happening between 3:20 and the rest of the day until, right? Especially 3:20. It has to be somewhere before 5:30. Grandma says she takes a nap. Still, yeah, still a window there. Where's Summer? Wow. The whole time I've tried to stay unbiased, give benefit of the doubt. Tried to do right, tried to make sure nobody targeted, try not to give my opinions, thoughts, theories, etc., to get them falsely targeted in the way we were, which I knew they were behind half of. And these fucking creators and the games they're playing, even with vid chats and Squall and PG and Arrest and their favorite targeting teams and Silver Tongue and Floppy and all the group and how it combines, and still didn't. And I still won't come full out, full tilt, attacking the shit out of it. Because it's playing into the fucking game, and I'm not here about a goddamn game. They're slinging mud and jello and bullshit. How many little
Why? If you're going to make a trip all the way to the bottom of the hill to check the shed, you might want to open it. Did he open it? Did he not? He says he doesn't know if he did it right then or not, but at some point, he definitely checked the shed, which, by the way, isn't unusual. It's just unusual in the circumstance that he's spinning it. Doesn't make much sense.
Not sure when if I was sitting right then or I might have parked and walked in there and looked real quick. I just don't remember. But well, when I come back from Utah, I was trying to move my family to Utah. I've always knew that something was going to happen to someone. Something in my gut has always told me, and I've always told Candace, watch her closely. That's my baby. Do not let nothing happen to her. I told her all.